Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. Bahrain has made great strides in the area of social and environmental development within a few decades. It has strived for sustainable and harmonious growth with ecosystems and evolution in various areas, meeting the kingdom's commitments to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. As the government is striving to get closer to achieve its goals in the environmental protection field, a number of non-profit organizations were established with the aims of maintaining both environment and animals' welfare, including the Animal and Environment Protection Charity Organization. To explore the challenges and aspirations of the organization, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by its president, Sheikha Marwa bint Abdulrahman Al Khalifa, right after this. Hello and welcome back to the studio. Joining me here is Sheikha Marwa Al Khalifa. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sheikha, one of the things that we've been seeing over and over again over the past few months, actually since January almost, is the immense amount of social media your organization has brought up. You have so many programs, but before we go into it, please tell us, how did your organization, known as the Animal and Environment Protection Charity Organization, start?
Well, I started helping groups of rescuers in 2014, and then I realized that there is a problem and there is a lack of animal law protection.
Okay.
So we have predicted the growth of stray animals, and we have predicted the growth of abandoned animals, and I always had a hope of not reaching that, and we have reached that. And many international organizations also gave us that prediction of the growth in because we are an island and we only can have so much capacity. So I've seen the scale of it, and then I've decided for it to be from a rescue group and something that we do on our own into an official organization that is hopefully going to make a big difference on the island.
Perfect, perfect. When you come and think about why the organization is on the island, why it's important on the island, you guys introduced a couple of programs in order to limit of the stray problem that is happening. There is the CNR, or the TNR, also called the TNR program. And in the beginning of the year, you had an immense powerful program where you got doctors and veterans from veterinary medicine doctors from outside of the country to perform these surgeries. Tell us a little bit about the programs you have.
Well, we started our first program in 2018, where we were contacted by the Cornell University Veterinary School, and they have a side organization or a charity organization called FARVets.
Yeah.
And it has the professors with the students of Cornell University Veterinary School, and they go abroad to many countries that have a problem with stray dogs and cats.
Yeah.
So they have approached us, and we did our first TNR. It was a small scale in June 2018. So after that, we introduced the idea to the government, and we pitched it, and they were in on it. So they started at the end of 2018 doing a little bit of TNR here and there.
Yeah.
And then we reintroduced the idea of having a TNR center, where you can do massive amounts so that you would end the problem of them reproducing. So we have not only brought the Cornell University Veterinary School, which this time have brought with them 10 students, vets that came, and they paid for themselves to come and learn and get extra credits, which is something that, you know, we can always work together with them. And we brought many doctors from other places in the world, like Ireland, Zambia. We had a doctor that deals with wild animals that came and gave us a lot of input, and a doctor from Australia, and many others. So this has shed light on the problem, made people aware that, you know, there is an epidemic. We not only have to do a TNR, but we have to raise the issue of having pet ownership laws so that dogs don't end up being abandoned in the street.
Yes. For those of the people that don't know what a TNR program is, it is a program where the animal that's on the street, whether dog or cat or anything, is caught and neutered, so their reproductive capabilities are stopped surgically, and then they are released back to the area where they're found, correct?
Not necessarily to the area they have found. And right now the government puts them in a certain area which is overpopulated, and now we have warned them from the crisis of doing that. So now we are in talks with them and with the animal welfare of putting them in other areas so that they don't accumulate in one area and cause you know, a bit of trouble to the people that live there and to the wild animals of the island as well.
Of course, because animals are they're biological creatures that secrete, excrete all kinds of things. They get sick as well. One of the problems faced by the community for a while now, for the animal community in the streets, is sicknesses such as distemper and also famine for the feline or for the cats. What kind of sicknesses have been seen and how are they being tackled?
Well, we have parvo. It's mostly with the puppies that, you know, they're young and their body is not fully immune. So you see the distemper, which is a horrible
painful disease.
And it just spreads like wildfire. And you know, a lot of rescue groups have been saying over and over again, please don't bring stray animals to the specific area that has distemper. So now we took initiative into our own hands. We are collecting donations to have all the dogs, the stray dogs that are taken to Tails Veterinary Clinic that have a contract with the government for another year to come to vaccinate all the dogs before putting them back in the street. So we have bought, EPCO has bought 160 vaccinations so far. And we are collecting donations for that. So with EPCO, we would like to share exactly what people end up giving for, because these are, you know, issues that we need to control. We are creating also a program with other organizations like BARC in Bahrain, Tails Veterinary Clinic, Animal Care Clinic, and many other volunteers, Bahrain Strays. And we would like to go to the accumulated area of Askar and start vaccinating, because mostly the distemper is shown over there. So we are just starting the initiative on December 1. We will keep everybody posted. We learn as we go along, but we are taking matters into our own hands to solve this crisis, because it's not going to go on its own.
Perfect. And I'm sure a lot of people, especially animal lovers, myself, one of them, thankful to have such a society that really talks to that aspect of not just keeping the animals safe, but keeping them comfortable, because they are part of the ecosystem. Now, Bahrain has a very large number of domestic animals, and they also have some stray animals. And like any other country, there are problems when it comes to the animals having their own space, so to say, within it. So, what are the reasons behind a need for making people more aware of animal friendliness and about animal abuse and how to avoid it and how not to do it? So what can you tell us about the importance of spreading awareness on animal care?
I think this goes to two directions. One is the awareness. I don't think Bahrain has suffered so much abuse like it has lately. The more years come, the more abuse started to look normal. We never had this much animal abuse. Society would gather around and be upset at the person that would actually, because it's against our religion. At the end of the day,
not really.
I mean, this is what our religion is about. Is to be, friendly and tolerant
Right.
and compassionate to all living things.
Yeah.
So this is just pure act of evil, which has nothing to do with, it just shows what a person is.
Absolutely.
So I think the only way to tackle that is to create fines and strict laws where when people create such horrible acts, should pay. And when they pay, and if they can't pay, they get jailed. This is the only way that they're going to stop. Other than that, if they only, sign something in a police station and get released, that's never going to stop.
Yeah, right. I mean, I see where you're coming from, especially that this form of punishment is not new. It's been European countries and the US and Canada.
Yes.
It's been applied for, I would say more like tens of years and hundreds of years probably, because there is that concept and that knowledge of animal protection and the way to basically care for them. Animals are not, a lot of people say, okay, it's an animal, it's just a piece of furniture. It's not like that.
Not at all.
It's an emotional connection that these people have. And when you decide to take care of an animal, you dedicate part of your life to it. How do you see the best way to educate children, especially at this stage now where in taking care of animals and
First of all, children would listen if there is a law, if they know that this is against the law and against the religion. If it's just against the religion, then a child is a child. They might do whatever they want at the end of the day. And we can't say it's children that are doing it. We don't know.
Right.
Unless it's filmed, unless we have proof. But there has to be a law. If Bahrain wants to go forward as the vision of 2030,
Correct.
where it covers all aspects of environmental, social, economical bases of society, then you have to change the laws of the animal welfare, and you have to go and be up to par with global organizations. Sure. You cannot be behind. You can't be an economic global market, and you can't be socially open and modern and then lack in another aspect. Right. We have to be up to par with our animal welfare, our marine life protection, and everything that has to do with other living beings.
Yes.
You can't just leave them die and act like it's nothing, because other societies see that as lack of humanity, and that only shows how poor a society is if it doesn't show compassion to other living beings, and this is a known fact.
Totally understood. I'll go back to the fact of the animals and some of the upcoming events that you guys have planned.
Yeah.
But big topic that you've been working on tirelessly is marine life.
Yes.
We see how much coverage you guys have put into the sea turtles, which are rare animals to even come to our beaches.
Yeah.
And regrettably, a lot of them are found dead because of the pollution. Also, we had a couple of incidents where we had floating carcasses of whales around the area.
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Some of them are from natural deaths, but others are not. Tell us about what APCO is doing for the marine life.
Well, just to correct what you said, we have no proof that any of them died of natural death, because none of them have had a proper autopsy, and we've never seen a proper report, and we don't have a proper lab to create a proper autopsy.
Yeah.
So this is something APCO is working tirelessly with Abu Dhabi Environment Council, which we have started working with from the beginning of 2019, and we have been educated very, very highly on the marine life, on turtles, on dolphins, on dugongs, how to protect them and how to track them and how to everything that has to do with its conservations.
Yes.
So what APCO wants to do is join many international organizations and many international summits that happened with protecting our oceans. And we need strict laws. We need turtle law protection, we need sea mammal protection, We need shark laws protection to be implemented as soon as possible. We don't want it to go through the bureaucracy of going through different channels. This has to be put down, looked at. I'm sure His Majesty, I hope he sees this program. I know he is an environmental lover. I know late Sheikh Isa was, cared about every single animal on Hawar Island, and that is a fact I've seen personally. I know that they are animal-loving family, and I know that I, from this table, have a plea for him to look at the marine life and put strict regulations, strict laws of protection. Not everywhere should be reclaimed. Like Fasht al-Azam should never be touched because it is like the lungs of our oceans. And there should be strict laws of where do they reclaim land, what is under it. There is no cooperation with us. So us as NGOs, we're only a few environmental NGOs in Bahrain, but I think we are the most active, if I may say so, and very honest. So we would like to bring international experts before any of that is done, because once something is gone, it's never coming back.
And as you said, it is part of our ecosystem. This is how our system survives, by having these natural reserves.
As you know, all the land reclamation has turned our natural spring waters to salty waters now. And we will face in the coming 30 years water crisis if we continue going the way that we are going. So we need this law, we need this action, we need this plea to be taken into consideration, because this, whatever is decided now, will affect generations to come. And this, if you don't have a vision for having water, food from the marine life around you, then nothing you do is as important. And this is what every environmentalist preaches, is that this is the life of Earth, is our oceans and our water. So yes, we do work tirelessly for this subject, and we would like to still work tirelessly. We would love His Majesty and His Highness Prince Salman to take what we say into consideration, because this is very important for them, for us as human beings to survive. I mean, we're coming up on a very crucial deadline when it comes to the 2030 vision. The 2020 environmental report is hopefully coming up. And when you really think about it, when it comes to the ecosystem, we don't only have bad things in Bahrain or around the world. But the point is, why we highlight the bad things is because we want them to be dealt with. Definitely.
We do have Bahrain Dive, which is initially a coral reef habitat, but it's still at the beginning of it, and it's still an invasive area for the sea itself, but you can see that there are some attempts to improve it. What do you think about these kind of initiatives by the government and other entities in order to grow maybe some endangered habitat areas within the marine area?
Well, nothing would survive if we go on pulling sand from the sea without regulations and going to places that are full of marine life. Nothing would survive that climate. Nothing. I mean, that is not we already have natural places that we need to protect. We already have many seagrass that is God-given, and we need to protect them. So for me, no matter what the other initiatives are, there are God-given places that need protected and need crucial laws. I am all for environmental police. I am all for having an environmental entity, whether it's whichever ministry it should follow, but we should have something as good as what goes on in UAE, where I was in awe of their system. I felt like, if I could only have 10% of that here, where I could have people actually going and to see and seeing what's going on and protecting it. Once something is gone, no money would bring it back.
Yes, yes.
No, whatever coral we put back, with all due respect to all these programs, if we don't protect our mangroves in Tubli,
yes,
if we don't protect our seagrass, if we don't protect what's left from our marine life, then no money would bring it back.
Yeah.
We'd take hundreds and hundreds of years. So what we need to do is protect what we have, straight on, dead on. Everything is clear.
Yeah.
You have your laws, you have your initiatives, you have to plan something that protects all of that marine life. We can work directly with other countries like
Yeah.
Oman.
Yeah.
We don't even have a turtle rescue center in Bahrain,
Yeah.
whereas Oman has several. UAE has 2.
Yeah.
We don't have any here. So whatever turtle is injured is just placed in a bathtub here and there.
Yeah.
These are things that I think if companies get together,
Yeah.
there are many companies in Bahrain that are willing to donate towards that. It's nothing that the government should pay for, but it's something that the government should initiate.
Yes, yes.
They should initiate that, and then the companies would, fall through and have it done.
Especially that it is an island and it is natural for it to have these marine life around it.
We are over 32 islands.
Yeah.
Our life has been the sea.
Yeah.
For the past 4,000 years. If we destroy it without a proper plan,
It's a
then
heritage that goes.
everything goes with it.
Understood.
So this has to be planned properly. And the south, I'm very, very adamant that the south of Bahrain should not be touched, because this is where we have the majority of the marine life that is left untouched.
Probably because it hasn't been reclaimed and touched yet over the years.
Not as much, very little,
yeah.
very little.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody brings up Hawar Island, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah, you're right.
With all honesty, this is how I feel. And
Absolutely.
I feel that people now want to come to ecotourism. They don't want to see buildings anymore. They don't want to see a city anymore.
Yeah.
They want to come and see what's not available in their country.
Exactly.
And this is what would take me to another country, is to see something I don't have in my own place.
Yeah.
So somewhere like Hawar would have an ecotourism, or
Absolutely.
anywhere in the south of Bahrain. This would bring people from all over the world, just like Oman did.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for those of you that want to know more about the information that Sheikh Hamar was talking about, I would recommend that you go to the APCO Instagram page. There's so much information, even about the places you visited in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I think,
Yes.
where they had the institution. There was a very thorough coverage of these things that are available and how beautiful things can be when they are protected.
100%, yes. So it's APCO BH.
Yeah, EPCO BH, and you find it on Instagram. It's really easy to access.
Yeah.
And what I love about it, I think whoever is taking care of the messaging is so quick at answering that once you have a question, you immediately answer.
She's over here, actually.
Yeah, perfect. Latifa is her name, and she does it fabulously. I mean,
Thank
really
you.
quick answer. You have a great team that supports you. They really believe in your cause, don't they?
Thank you. I think we're very honest. We don't have anything behind what we're doing except our passion.
Yeah.
We are very, very passionate about animals and about environment. I think people can see the truth behind every person.
Yeah.
So, anybody could go into any other field, but this is not an easy field to go through in our world. So, being one of the first to do these things, we were adamant to go through, and we will go through.
Yes.
Because we have the backup of many international organizations. Many people want to help, because this is what we all live off, is our environment. Nothing else would matter except that.
Yes, perfect. Well, various official and private institutions cooperate with APCO in and outside the Bahrain, as you have mentioned. What can you tell us about the aspects and aims of such cooperations, and how do they contribute to positive progress of the APCO program?
I think oceans are not owned by, ocean marine life is not owned This is one of the things. It's not owned by a certain country because they migrate.
Yes, exactly.
In the sea from one place to another. So having a a united effort, whether it's neighboring countries, whether it's international organizations that help us, teach us, many other things, this would just help us move forward. And of course, regarding pets, who doesn't love pets? They're very popular all over the world. I'm a big pet person. I have 11 dogs and 2 cats, which hopefully you'll adopt one.
Hopefully too.
Hopefully.
Next few days.
Yes. So, we are, I've always been this way. I always loved animals. I always had compassion towards all animals. They are very smart, they're very loving, they're very pure. They add to your energy and to your life. And it's just called compassion, being a human being.
One thing that is not available in our region, I haven't seen it actually in any place, are animal companions. And I come from Saudi Arabia, but I'm also half German. And in Germany, you have a lot of service animals, and especially dogs. And sometimes there are also cats. And these animals are actually trained to give this kind of care to a human being that is suffering from a real mental illness or even immobility like blindness or so on. Do you see maybe awareness on the roles of animal in these caretaker positions would be a plus in Bahrain to show people that?
100%. Actually, I saw that in Abu Dhabi, where they have a big center for people with many disabilities. And they have a lot of programs with animals. They have rabbits, they have horses to ease all the disabled or people with many other problems. They have dogs, they have cats. And when I knew that, I was in awe that a center like this is available in the Arabian Gulf and in the GCC countries. And I would definitely promote that because it's a scientific fact that it calms children with autism or with any other mental or physical disability. And I would love to be a part of something like that.
That would be beautiful. Of course, the emotional connection to these animals is one thing, but there are actual scientific facts about animals sniffing out different kind of smells, and they can tell basically if the person is going through an acidosis or ketone state when it comes to diabetes. Also, there are other animals that are able to save people with epileptic attacks by being trained in order to keep them safe from hurting themselves. And I think initiatives like that are also important because Bahrain is like any other country, has a healthcare system, and they have sick people and they have people that need more care than expected or even different kind of care depending on how they feel comfortable with it. Do you see something like that happening probably?
I think it's with the awareness. When a lady says, I don't want a male doctor, but then she ends up going to a male doctor because she's in need of that treatment. That's how I see, especially with dogs. If somebody is alone, if it's an elderly, if it's a child that the mom is not going to be there all the time, then that religious aspect, which I'm not, I don't see dogs as something bad or that I wouldn't have with me. But that's everybody's own personal choice. But if you are in need, then I think, religion or society does not hold you back from what's good for you. And having a service dog that helps your child or your mother or your father or an elderly, then that is something I don't think any society or any religion in the world would be against. And I would definitely promote that, and you have seen it online, and I've seen it online, of how much dogs save lives, and even cats. Lately we've seen a cat save a child's life. So yes, they should give them credit for their intelligence and how much they could help a human being.
In different parts of the region, you see a big epidemic, which is that elderly people are often left to fend for themselves at homes. They have housemaids or they have helpers and so on. And there was a study done recently on the effect of having a pet with the elderly. And many of these times, the elderly proved to have positive psychological feedback when they were asked over a period of time, how do you feel at home? They were more active because they needed to go walk the dog or because they had to feed the cat.
Yeah.
They felt like they actually had responsibilities. And that is one of the major things that I see as a plus of having a pet for even elderly homes, where they bring in service animals and they spread that joy. Service animals, whether dogs or cats, come into these elderly homes in different countries and they spread that joy. Are there different kinds of aspects where you say, specifically for this, I think service animals should be introduced?
I think they should be introduced to anywhere with mental problems like autism and or any mental place with depression or any of that, even addiction. I've read many places that have people that suffer from addiction. They, when they go through trauma, they put them with a horse, and the horse actually gives them a kind of calming energy that takes them out of their that mental state into a better place. And I think, as I said, I was very impressed with Abu Dhabi and what they did there for the disabled. And I think that something like this in Bahrain should be introduced. I'm all for it. I would love to be a part of something like this, as I said. Anybody that would want us to train or be a part of it or bring trainers, especially for that, we are all for it. We're open for discussion. Whether it's any of the places with Ma'had al-Amal, any of the other places, we are all for having training a service animal and see how it goes.
That's
so
wonderful.
Anybody that wants to contact us regarding that, we would love to be a part of it, and we would like to see. We want to know what the outcome would be.
And we would even put some of the contact details of APCO when it comes to the Instagram on our screen. You are introducing something to Bahrain very soon, and it's a special circumstance for animals, especially dogs and people and dog owners. There's what are your future plans when it comes to APCO and introducing this animal-friendly environment with the pop market and everything?
Well, on Saturday we are doing a pet awareness day, where pets are not something that you get and you get bored of, or you don't have, or you can't take care of it anymore, or you just leave it in the street. We have many organizations, we have many rescue teams that everybody knows. Even if they contact us, we would help rehome the dog. But I would love for everybody not to, as I don't want to say throw, but abandon their animals in the streets.
Because that's abandoning them.
That's abandoning them. Whether it's dogs, whether it's cats, whether it's rabbits, whether it's monkeys these days, whatever they have as a pet and they get tired of, they just put it next to a construction area where people, construction workers are, and then they get fed. We just found 5 Shih Tzus between the ages of 1.5 to 6 months. And this is on daily basis. I'm talking from what I see, not regarding the other rescuers, Pomeranians, cats, Persian cats, Himalayan cats. It's endless. So what I would, what I would really, really want is a pet protection law, where some pets should not enter the country, some dogs should not enter the country at all, and nothing enters the country without being microchipped, and nothing is sold without having a registration for selling an animal.
Yes.
You're not allowed to breed, nor to sell from your apartment or your house or your farm or without being registered as a breeder.
Yes.
Just like in the UK and in Switzerland and anywhere, you're
Correct.
not allowed to sell an animal without having a registration of sales.
Yeah.
And in our country, we are not allowed to sell pet equipment or pet food, but we're allowed to sell the animal.
True that. And
so that's unacceptable, and we are adamant of putting a pet protection law.
Especially when you see in the streets in some areas where you have the cages with cats in it or cages with dogs. I mean, you can see some people are really horrified by that. And I know a lot of foreigners that go and buy the animals just to keep them, to release them into the wild. They don't want them to be in a cage, basically.
But I think markets like this are outdated. Yeah. Yeah. Markets like this are outdated. This used to happen 100 years ago, where you did not have the social media and such a global community. Yeah. But right now, cramming cats and selling them from a cage, or birds, or putting 100 chickens in one cage, or whatever that you have seen in these markets, that I've never stepped foot there. Yeah. I don't have the heart to, but these markets have to be shut down completely. Yes. And there should be a proper registration with the Ministry of Commerce, and it should be dealt with as a proper business. Nothing sold from the street, because now you see people wanting to sell fish on the street, and the municipality removes them. Yeah. So how can you sell one animal and not sell the other?
Correct, right.
It's absolutely unacceptable. Yeah. And I know a lot of expatriates that are very angry. Yeah. For the past decades, they don't want that to happen anymore. Yeah. And I'm a positive person. I'm very hopeful. Yes. We will carry on. Yes. I know there's hope. Yeah. With all the organizations, with the ministries, we've gone very far with the TNR. Yeah. Yeah. There was a time where nobody wanted to talk about something called TNR. Right. And we've come so far now. Yeah. We could go further, and we could go faster. Yes, absolutely. Because I've become impatient with this subject. Yes. But I think I'm hopeful.
There's a lot of progress that you have initiated. I mean, thankfully, there's a lot of progress that APCO has initiated, from awareness to actual execution, and that I think was what was missing. People always saw the awareness part, and they always saw the education part, but they never saw, okay, someone's actually doing something about it. But
I agree.
We've really gotten almost to the end of our show, and as I said, you have a lot of upcoming projects. If you guys want to watch any of them, you'll find them on the APCO Instagram account, and there's so much information to find there, and you can contact the organization through it as well. But any last words for you, hopeful words for the future, especially now, I mean, addressing the community, the government, anything for the future of APCO?
Yes, I would like to have the pet laws reformed, redone. Yeah. That I'm adamant for it to happen quickly, because we are not going to end the stray epidemic without controlling where the dogs come from. Yeah, absolutely. That's one, and I'm very adamant on that. I would like people to spread the awareness. I'd like locals to spread the compassion. I would like, I would like Bahrain to be one of the most animal-friendly countries. Yeah. So spreading that, educating people, don't depend on only an official entity to do this job. You as a citizen, you as an expat, you as in whoever you are in your schools, in your communities, teach compassion, teach protection, teach any of that. Right. It is, a work that we should do collectively. Correct. Not one person or one organization. Absolutely. And of course, if you see anything that you would like to contact APCO with, we are more than happy to learn, more than happy to teach, and more than happy to be a part of anything that has to do with any of our passion.
Perfect, perfect.
Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for having us. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being with us today. And we would also like to thank you, dear viewers, for watching, and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.